All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't live. My mic wasn't working there. So we are plugged in, ready to go, live and running. All right. All right, guys, let's try this again. Getting my mic up and running. Not been the smoothest, but hopefully you can hear me and things are moving a bit better from this point on. All right, cool. Let's break this thing down and see what we can do here. So we're gonna go start with a monthly breakdown. We're gonna start from the top, from the higher time frame. We're gonna work our way down and we're gonna develop a bias for the day. Now, please understand, a bias for the day doesn't mean you're right. It just means you've created the right scenario. You've understood the story of the day to be able to take the trade in the direction you believe price could be going. And remember, our job is to take a 50% probability and move it to, well, not 100% because you're never going to get it right 100%. But I guess if you do get a trade right, then you've got it right 100%. So we want to move it as close to this mark as possible. So essentially, we are going to assess the market, break it down, and give ourselves the best chance of a winning move. Okay. So first and foremost, I want to start on the 12 monthly. And you wonder, why am I starting on the 12 monthly? Because we can see that we have taken last year's high, essentially. January to December, last year's high has been swept. So what we have here is buy side liquidity has been taken. And what we tend to do is we do not buy against buy side liquidity. Okay, so that's essentially what we're working with here. We don't want to buy against that. So automatically that kind of gives us, let's put that right, that gives us our an understanding of where price is going on a larger scale. We can see that price has moved higher. Price has moved higher, and then price has pushed back within this liquidity range here. So for that tells me already on a 12-month level that the sellers are the dominant force here. So 12 monthly is telling me the sellers are the dominant side in the market. Okay. So if we break it down to the 6 monthly, you see the same thing here, the 6 monthly high. And even actually with that, you can actually look to your left and you can see that actually we have hit a strong supply zone. So if I do something like this, if I say 12 month, right, I'm going to put bearish. And the reason is liquidity, buy side liquidity taken. So I'm already developing a bias to the downside because of my highest time frame reading. Okay. Now let's remember that we got news at 12 o'clock. I'm aware of that news is coming in, interest rate news. So that's going to highly impact this movement here. but we can still analyze even with that news coming out. Okay. So 12 monthly bearish, 6 monthly, we can say bear. Why? Because we can say order block respect. Let's bring that down a bit. Okay. And then we can say, we can say on the next time frame, which is probably the monthly, we'll jump to the monthly here. Let's see what the monthly has to offer. The monthly would ultimately, looking at the monthly, I feel like the monthly supports the bearish idea. Why? Because we can see this is where the 12 monthly, 6 monthly liquidity sweep happened. And we can see that this current month, rather than pushing this way, is continuing the selling pressure that came from the 12 monthly, 6 monthly into current month. We are continuing that move to the downside. So for me, the monthly is also bearish. So straight away now we have a higher time frame that tells us bearish on all fronts. Okay. Now we go to the weekly. So far I'm bearish, right? We go to the weekly. The weekly looks extremely bearish to me. More so because we got this swing high forming and it looks like we've got a nice engulfing pattern forming. But because it's all forming, I don't want to go off that. So I'm going to drop to the 2-day. I want what's pretty much done, right? What I can confirm here on the 2-day, right? So we go from the weekly. We just bring this back again. So we bring this in here. Weekly, I'm going to say bear based on what's forming. But because of that, and I want to just go on what's forming, I want to go on what's actually happened. So I'm going to go forming swing high and bearish engulfing. Okay, I think that's fair. All right, so that's for forming. But because it's forming, I'm going to drop to 2-day. I want to see what's actually happened, what's done, what's already concrete. Okay, here we go. We go to the 2-day. What we can say is we can say bearish for sure. Say bearish. And the reason we can say bearish is because we have a swing high, and then we also have and liquidity 2-day of previous 2-day high. So can you see here, we have this swing high that's formed, not forming, but that's formed. Swing high that's formed, right? Not forming, but formed. We also have 2-day liquidity sweep of previous 2-day high, right? So buy side liquidity has already been taken. Again, not trying to take it, not sure, not happening in the moment. It has happened, right? And therefore, that gives us that with the forming swing high and bearish engulfing on the weekly, with the swing high that's already formed on the 2-day and the liquidity sweep to the upside, gives us a strong bearish reading. Okay, we go to the daily. Over here, and we can hit the daily and we can see what's the daily saying. Beautiful. And the same is true for the day. We can look at the signal. This is beautiful. This is an F, not just a buy side liquidity taken, but it's an FVG tap. I love that. Great signature. Plus, we're coming from the fact that look at structure. Boom. We're never going above the highs. Highs are not being touched until we took liquidity and tapped into the FVG, and then we traded to the downside. So for me, that FVG tap, we are bearish. And my argument is the FVG tap. Okay. Really happy about that. Perfect. Okay, and then what we can also say is if we remove, neaten up the chart a bit. So again, all we're doing is developing a bias. We're looking for signatures that the market presents us. Things like an FVG tap tells me that price tried to go higher, but actually it only wanted to rebalance the market to go in its proper direction. So the fake direction is into this FVG. The real direction is down in this direction now. So if I'm seeing an FVG tap, I am going to ultimately, especially on a higher time frame, is going to help me develop a bias for the day. It's going to help me develop a bias for the day. So this is really, really important in terms of how we work and how we operate. Okay. And obviously you can see today price gapped up and we've just traded aggressively. Look at that, aggressive. There's no backlift, no selling pressure at all. So the candle formation of today's trade shows me that it's respecting the order block the other day. So we can do FVG tap from the day before, but we can also say and OB respect. We are respecting the supply zone, okay, which is good. Again, tells me that we're bearish. We are bearish. Okay, here we go, and here we go. All right. Cool. Let's also move to. Let's see what's happening, because remember, we could be bearish London, but New York could be bullish. So again, we're trying to kind of get an idea of where we are for New York. Will New York, we definitely know London has been bearish, the London session. Will New York continue or will New York reverse? And that's ultimately what we're going to be trying to find out in this whole session here. So go to the 4 hour. And this is interesting. Let's get our notes in here. On the 4 hour now, we know we've been bearish. I don't even think this need to discuss the fact that we can see that price has been bearish. We've come from this lower low to lower high to lower low. All right, so we broke this low over here, lower low. So we've been bearish. But does that mean we're going to continue for New York? So the 4 hour for me is bearish, right? We can say, but I'm going to say for now, we need to probably dig in a little bit more. Maybe go to the 3 hour. Okay. I would say the 4 hour London session, definitely bearish. Is it true for the New York session? I would say so. I would say yes. Here's my thought process. Or here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go 4 hour, right? We can see that price has been trading aggressively beneath the supply zone. So that tells me that sellers are still dominant, all right? Then you go to the 3 hour and you can see, look at that, great signature. Look at the 3 hour, great signature. We can see once again, price trading in the London session into this FEG. And rather than breaking through it, we have respected it and traded down. That tells me the sellers are strong. From here, we've been pressing down, right? So I've got no reason to go against what I'm seeing, right? I've got no reason to go against what I'm seeing. So I believe price, my personal opinion and my personal view, I feel like price is still continuing a bearish idea here. Things could change. You know, this ain't financial advice. Price could change as a result of the news that we are seeing that come out. And we still got some more news to come out. Oh, even today. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. There's jobs openings at 3 p.m. So there's going to be a little bit more news to come out today before we can do anything, to be fair. So that'll be interesting to see how price maneuvers for this. So that it looks like the government shutdown's over. That was quick. So yeah, 3 p.m. news here. Let's see what will happen with this bit of data. But at the moment, price, it looks like the Bank of England have kept the official bank rate at 3.75, right? So we're seeing price drop here. And for me, I'm going to hold, because of the 4, and the 3, the 4 and the 3 together tells me that we are bearish, right? And we're going to put in here FVG tap. FVG tap. So we're going to put FVG tap in order to give a reasoning. What's our signature? And I'm looking at this point here to suggest that, all right, cool. That tap into here showed that we were bearish. Are we still bearish? We're going to find out if we go to the 1 hour. And I say yes. Why? Because when price is pulled up, rather than continuing higher, it looks to me like it's giving an engulfing, right? And I like that. I like the fact that it's giving an engulfing pattern. If in the next 48 minutes we can close aggressively below the supply zone, I would say that the New York session continues bearish, and we look to continue selling GBP USD, right? So it'll be very interesting how price retests the zone. Price would have to give us a retest of the zone, and then for me personally, that's what I'm if price comes back in here, I would have to wait to see if price wants to continue selling or break through. It could do whatever it wants, but I at the moment I'm weighing more towards the bears than anything else. As you can see, we came into this FEG even on the 1 hour, and we respected it. So for that very reason, unless price is going to do something crazy, I'm anticipating, price to continue lower. Unless price starts to break through these levels and then again retest new zones and new levels, then fine. Then there's a reason to reassess. But for me right now, I'm holding a bearish idea. And if price continues to close beneath this level aggressively, I will look to see if price will continue lower when it retests maybe areas like here, or if it creates an FVG and it comes back and retests certain areas like here, then we'll begin to start moving from there. But we're going to need to see how it closes in the next 47 minutes. And plus, with news at 3 o'clock, anything could happen. So we just need to be wary in terms of how we approach the market from this point on. All right. Well, guys, this is we're going to call the stream to an end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hopefully you got something out of it, and hopefully you're starting to see the repetition in the way we kind of analyze the market. We do the same thing every day. We don't change, same approach. Sometimes you won't get it, but most of the time you will get it. Sometimes you won't get it, and sometimes you just have to accept that. That's part of trading. But having an approach that you can follow through every single day, I think, is the key to successful trading. And that's what we're doing here. We're following a higher time frame, top-down analysis down to the 1 hour to give us a position to look for opportunities to trade. All right, guys, I hope this session has blessed you. Don't forget again to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next stream. Blessings.